Hey y'all, I got a interesting video for you today. So I was looking at my insurance, auto insurance on Geico, and I downloaded the mobile app, and it asked me, would you like to see your Carfax information and some dealer maintenance records and so forth? And I'm like, well, that sounds interesting. I'd like to learn a little bit more about my trucks and what happened to them before I got them. And lo and behold, there was a bunch of surprises. So on this Geico app, it's called Vehicle Care. And I got on there, and all of a sudden I could see all these maintenance records. And the biggest surprise was on this truck, the 2003. What happened to it? See, I've had it for 6.5 years, and got it at 170,000 miles, and now it's got 392 on it. So I'm pretty well aware of the history of this truck, but not the very early history of it. And so, first thing that happened, rewind all the way to January of 2005. The truck had 35,000 miles on it, and it had a new valve body installed and a new oil pan gasket installed at that time. So I've always been saying this transmission's got almost 400K on it, still bone stock. Well, turns out the valve body was replaced at some point early in its life. Not sure what was wrong with the old one. Same with the oil pan gasket. 35,000 miles, that's pretty early. But it's good to know that stuff's replaced. An oil pan gasket is a terrible job. You've got to lift the entire engine a couple of inches just to clear and get the old oil pan off. So I guess I'm glad that was done. It would have been nicer if it was done a bit later, so that stuff would be a little younger. But very interesting, big surprise. Then, 91,000 miles. New axle on the rear. I assume it's the rear. They don't really specify, but you got to assume it's the rear. That's a big surprise. I am not sure what was really done. How much of this was actually replaced? This is the AAM 10.5, which came on the 03 standard outputs. And I'm not sure what was wrong with the axle or how much of it was actually replaced back here. But 91,000 miles back in 2007, it had some rear end work done. And it also had the keys reprogrammed, which I don't think they did a very good job of it, because I still get a soft code for security keys and whatnot, and you got to be careful. I should really change my key fob batteries, because if I open the door with my key, just with the key, not with the remote, it may set the alarm off. So, like, it thinks it's got broke into. So I don't know what's up with that. So the keys got reprogrammed. The ignition switch, which I thought was bone stock, and I have a popular video out about ignition switch. Thought that was bone stock, and it got replaced at 114K. And tires. There's some records in there about tires. So this truck came with a set of General Grabber AT tires, and I wasn't sure how old they were or how long they lasted. I only had them on the truck for maybe 5,000 or 10,000 miles before I switched to the Toyos. Well, since I found that maintenance record, I can assume that they lasted roughly 50,000 miles compared to my first set of Toyo MTs, which went 63. My second set of MTs went 100, and these CTs on here have a lot of life left in it. I bet they reach 100, but this truck has really good lifespan on tires. Anyways, I also found out this truck lived in Milford, Delaware. So I knew it was from Delaware. I saw a Carfax report way back when, and I just couldn't remember the town. Someone was asking me on another video, what town in Delaware did I get the truck? I'm like, I don't know where it was from. It was somewhere there. I thought it was southern Delaware. That's right. Milford was where it came from. So, well, that's not the only thing I looked at. We have the '09 here. This truck was a one-owner truck, bone stock truck. I was pretty confident that it was, nothing funny happened with it maintenance-wise, and it didn't have any crazy history to it. But there was a couple surprises on it. Nothing until 60,000 miles. So this isn't much of a surprise at all. Turbo actuator, likely the actuator. It said turbo repaired or replaced, and I'm going to guess almost certainly that it was the actuator. 60,000 miles is all that lasted, which is a disappointment. I was hoping that maybe that would have gone maybe closer to 100. There's the actuator peeking through right there. This truck also, it's 81,000 miles. It was the only other surprise I saw with it. New blower motor for the HVAC. A brand new aluminum drive shaft, which I think is like an aftermarket style. You can see it there. It's huge. It's probably a 5 or 6 inch wide drive shaft. Aluminum drive shaft, and then front and rear pinion seals on both front and rear axles. So it's good to know that was replaced. That was 81,000 miles. Besides that, it really had a very clean history. Both trucks had their oils changed, their differentials, the transmission, especially the white one over here. Every 20,000 miles or so, they were changing trans and differential oil. And they even did the transfer case a couple times. So a lot of that stuff gets ignored, but they kept up with their maintenance in the early life of this truck. I really had no idea when I bought the truck how well it was maintained in the past. I assumed it was okay. This one I was more confident because this was the guy owned this truck for 10 years. I was more confident about this. This one's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it stayed there all its life. So it's good to know about these historical records and so forth. And if you have that app, if you've got Geico, check out that vehicle care on your phone, and you may learn a thing or two. Anyways, hope y'all found this story entertaining. I will see y'all in the next video.